Okay, so I got this problem from the book, and I want to show you how we can do the post-optimality analysis. Basically, we have here three variables and two constraints. So we have C1, and we want to see what is the allowable increase and decrease for both C1, which is 4 plus D1. This is C2, which is 3 plus D2. And this one here, we have C3, which is 6 plus D3. So here we need to find for C1 and for C2 and for C3. Okay, and then we will talk about how we can address the right-hand side, B1 and B2. We'll talk about it later. So now let's say I already solved this problem using the tabular form, and this is my optimal solution. Now I have three decision variables, so therefore in top of the decision variable columns, I'm going to place D1 and D2 and D3. And for the slack variables, first we have zeros. Before we continue, we need to make sure that this is an optimal solution. We look at row 0 and we see that we have all non-negative coefficients or values. So therefore, this is an optimal solution. My optimal solution is I have x2 and x3 are basic variables. So x1 is non-basic. And as you can see, x2 and 3, their values in row 0 are zeros. So that's what it should be. X1, X4, X5, they are non-basic, and their values in row 0 are positive, as we can see. And the right-hand side is 70, so my optimal solution, X1 is equal to 0, X2 is equal to 10, X3 is equal to 6.667, and X4 is non-basic, therefore its value is 0, and X5, again, its value is 0 because it is also non-basic. So now let's start writing how to find the allowable increase and decrease for the coefficients of the objective function. So play, as we said, next to the z we write a 1, d3 we write a d3, and for x2 we write d2. Okay, so now we can write three equations. We are going to be using the columns of the three non-basic variables. So from column x1, we are going to write the following: 1 times 1, so that's 1 multiplied by 1 plus 1.33 times d3 plus minus 1 or negative 1 times d2. Now this is all minus, as we said, minus d1, because here I have a d1, and it should be greater than or equal to 0. So this is my first equation. Now let's write the second equation. The second equation, we are going to write it using the x4 column. So let's write it. I have again 1 times 1. So that's 1 times 1 plus 0.6667 times d3 plus minus 1 negative 1 times d2. Now minus what? Minus 0, because I have a 0 here. So minus 0, let me write it. It's greater than or equal to 0. The third equation, quickly, it is 1 times 1 plus minus 0.33, negative 0.33 times d3 plus positive 1 times d2 minus, again, minus 0 greater than or equal to 0. Now I'm using the x5 column. Okay, so now I have three equations, three unknowns, and we need to solve for d1, d2, and d3. Now let's start with for d1. Okay, so when we're solving for D1, right away we set what? D2 equals D3 equals 0. Okay, so now let's take the first equation. We have 1 plus 1.33 times D3, which is 0, minus negative 1 times, or plus negative 1 times D2, which is also 0. So this is now 1. Let me just erase this. Now I have, this is 1 minus D1 is greater than or equal to 0. Therefore, I have 1 is greater than or equal to 0. To D1, sorry. So therefore, I have D1 is less than or equal to 1. So this will be my allowable increase for C1. So this is the allowable increase for C1. Now, let's take a look at equation 2, equation 3. So from equation 1, I got the allowable increase for D1. Equation 2, equation 3, they don't have any term for D1. Therefore, I cannot get any information about the allowable decrease for C1. Therefore, we can simply say that the allowable decrease for C1 is what is infinity. Okay, so it's infinity. So hopefully now this explains how to find the allowable increase and decrease for C1. Now let's continue with the other uh, terms. So now we want to do D2. So for D2, what are we going? We are going to set D1 and D3 equals to what? Equals to 0. So now we need to solve this for D2. So let's go again from the first equation. We have 1 times 1 is 1, plus 1.33 times D3, which is 0, minus D2, minus 1 times D2, so this is minus. So this is plus 0 minus D2 minus D1. D1 is 0 again, so this is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so this is basically, I will write it here, 1 minus D2 is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so this is from the first equation. Now let's do from the second equation. What do I have? I have, again, this is a 1, and we have 0.667 times D3 minus D2 is greater than or equal to 0, minus 0. Okay, so again, this will give me the same value. So that's, again, so from this one here, I have, let me add this. This is now 1 is greater than equal to D2. And from this one, again, I have 1 is greater than equal to D2. Okay, so it's giving me the same value, which is basically D2 should be less than or equal to 1 from these two. Now let's see if the last equation, what would it give me? I have a 1 times 1 again, plus negative 0.33 times D3, which is a 0, plus 1 D2 minus 0. So now I have a plus D2 is greater than or equal to 0. So from this one here, we have 1 is greater than or equal to minus D2. So therefore, now I have to what? To multiply by minus 1 and flip the sign. So now I have minus 1. Now we have less than or equal to d2. Therefore, d2 is what? d2 is greater than or equal to minus 1. So from this guy here, we get from these two, as we said, they are equal. So here we are going to write this one here is what? This is my allowable increase for C2. And this is my allowable decrease for C2. Okay, so this is my allowable increase, and this is my allowable decrease. Now, the last thing is for D3. So let's start for D3 now. Once we're doing with D3, so we said D1 equals D2 equals what? Equals 0. Okay, so now let's take the first equation. First equation, we will have 1 times 1 is 1 plus 1.33 D3 minus or plus negative 1 times D2, which is 0, minus D1, which is also 0. So this is greater than or equal to uh, 0. Okay, so this is my first equation. Let me write it. So this is 1 is greater than or equal to minus 1.33 E3. Okay, and this is basically 4 over. So this is basically 4 over 3. Now, if I want to solve it, so this will be, we'll multiply by negative value. So this is 4 divided by, so on 4 divided by 3. So it's going to become, this is 3 divided by 4. And then we flip the sign, and this is a negative sign here. So this is D3. So therefore, D3 should be greater than or equal to negative 3 over 4. This would be my allowable decrease. Okay, but let's check the other equations. So now from the second equation, we have a 1. Let's go back here. The second equation, this equation now I'm going to use it for D3. It is 1 plus 0.667. This is 1 plus 0.667 D3. And again, this is plus minus 1 times D2. D2 is 0 minus 0. So this is greater than equal to 0. So this is greater than equal to 0. Okay, so now let's write it. So this will become 1 is greater than or equal to and then minus 2 over 3 D3. Okay. Okay. And what do we need to? We need to multiply by negative. So now we have 3 over 2. Now what do we have? We have these multiplied by negative 3 over 2. So this is 3 over 2 negative. This will become less than equal to, we change the sign, and this is D3. Okay. Okay. So now with these two, I have D again, how would we choose between the two? I have this is negative 1.5 and this is negative 0.75. So we choose the negative 0.75. So this is the allowable decrease is the negative 0.75. This is the allowable decrease is 0.75 because of the negative value. Okay, so the allowable decrease is 0.75 because of the negative value. Now to do the allowable increase, I think we need to go back to the third equation. And we see from the third equation here, so I'm just gonna scroll down. It is 1 times 1 uh, plus negative 0.33 times D3 plus 1 times D2. D2 again, it's equal to 0 minus 0. So therefore, I'm going to write it here. It is 1. So from the third equation, we have 1 minus 0.33 D3 greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so now we set this to the other side, so it will be 1 is greater than or equal to 0.33 D3, and therefore we have D3 we multiply by 3, D3 is less than or equal to 3, and this will be my allowable increase for C3. By this, we have finished the allowable increase and decrease for C1, C2, and C3. So this is the allowable increase for C3. This one here, it's equal to 3. The allowable decrease for C3 is 0.75. And for D2, allowable decrease for C2 is 1. Okay, allowable increase for C2 is equal to 1 in this equation here. And again, for the allowable increase for C1, it is equal to 1 from this equation here. And again, since we did not have any equation, any information about the allowable decrease, about a lower bound for D, therefore the allowable decrease for C1 is equal to infinity. Okay,